शिक्षा क्षेत्रलाई उज्यालो बनाउनको लागि पर्नुभएका लामो समयदेखि यस क्षेत्रलाई बलियो बनाउनुपर्छ भनेर सोच लिनुभएका अग्रणी व्यक्तित्वहरू आउनुभएको छ। यहाँ सबैजनालाई म कार्यक्रममा हार्दिक स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु। This event happens to be one of the notable events of many events that I've performed in my life. किनभने आज म शिक्षाको ज्योति फैलाउने गुरुवर्गको अगाडि बोल्दैछु। अलिकति डराउन सक्छु, अलिकति काम्न सक्छु, अलिकति मन मेरो आत्तिन सक्छ। तपाईले एउटा गुरुले आफ्नो सानो शिष्यलाई सम्झाएको जस्तै गरेर सम्झाउनुहुन्छ भन्ने कुरा म विश्वस्त छु। Before I start the event, I have written a small dedication, a poem for all of you. मेरो जीवनमा मलाई मेरो गुरुहरूले, मेरो शिक्षकले मार्गदर्शन नदिनु भए सायद म यहाँसम्म आइपुग्दैन थिएँ। त्यसैले तपाईले शिक्षाको ज्योति फैलाउने काम गरिरहनु भएको छ। यहाँको लागि समर्पित एउटा कविताबाट सुरु गर्छु। हुन्छ हजुर? जीवनमा अँध्यारो मोडमा बाटो देखाइदिने दियो शिक्षक। अक्षर भन्दा अघि हिम्मत सिकाउने भरोसा शिक्षक। गल्तीमा लुकेको अवसर चिनाएर उठाउन सिकाउने हात, मनभित्र निदाएको प्रतिभामा जागो दिने मधुर आवाज। सपना कसरी उभिन्छन् भन्ने सूत्र बताउने मार्गदर्शक, दबिएको आत्मविश्वासलाई फूल झैं खुलाउन सक्ने जादुगर, ज्ञानसँगै अनुशासन, मूल्य र जीवनको अर्थ पढाउने गुरु, असफलताको भुइँबाट सफलताको शिखरसम्म पुर्याउने सेतु, दुनियाँलाई नयाँ आँखाले सिकाउने शक्ति तपाईँ हुनुहुन्छ। शिक्षक तपाईले हाम्रो भविष्यको पहिलो उज्यालो हुनुहुन्छ। धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। थ्यांक यू भेरी मच। यो समय आजको दिन सम्पूर्ण गुरुहरुलाई समर्पित गर्दै म यहाँहरु सबैजनालाई द मोस्ट अवेटेड इभेन्ट अफ कोशी प्रोभिन्स that happens to be Papson Kosi Province Leadership Summit with the theme of sustainable leadership and well-being in school ma hardik swagat garna chahanchu. As we will be using both the languages because there is no language barrier. Learning should be open. त्यसैले दुईटै भाषामा सायद आज कार्यक्रमको सहजता अगाडि बढ्दैछ। कार्यक्रम ठ्याक्कै समयमा सुरुवात गर्ने प्रयास हामीले गरेको त्यही तरिकाबाट यहाँहरु पनि आउनु भएको। अलिकति ब्रेकफास्टमा तलमाथि हुन गयो। त्यसको लागि सायद क्षमा माग्नु पर्दैन थियो होला। त्यही पनि म अर्गनाइजरको तर्फबाट यहाँहरुसँग क्षमा माग्दै कार्यक्रम अगाडि बढाउन चाहन्छु। Ladies and gentlemen, respected principals, dedicated teachers, distinguished guests and dear participants, a very warm welcome and heartfelt welcome to Papson Kosi Province Leadership Summit 2025. Let us consolidate our hearts, mind, body, soul thought process into one. Today we gather under a powerful and a very timely theme, sustainable leadership and well-being in school. This summit brings together visionary leaders who believe in shaping schools that not only excel academically but also nurture emotional strength, resilience and holistic growth. Now, leadership in education today is more than just administration. It is inspiration, it is responsibility and compassion. Sustainable leadership reminds us that strong institutions are built on long-term vision, shared values and collective effort. And at the heart of every great school lies well-being, the well-being of our students, your teachers and our entire learning community. This summit is an opportunity to reflect, rethink and reimagine how leadership can transform education in Kosi Province. So thank you very much for everybody for participating. Without further ado, now let me move towards the formalities of the formal event here. Let me take this opportunity and acknowledging the presence of wonderful personalities who are seated on the very front line along with everyone who's seated on their own area. I'm very sure यहाँलाई आजको दिनको बारेमा राम्रै जानकारी पनि छ। यहाँले बिहानदेखि फोटो पनि खिचिसक्नु भएको छ, कतिजनाले भिडियो पनि खिच्नु भएको छ होला। ह्याशट्याग छ sustainable leadership, hashtag well-being in school. यो दुईटालाई ह्याशट्यागमा राखेर तपाईले सोशल मिडियामा पिक्चर्स र भिडियोजहरु अपलोड गरिदिनु भयो भने त्यो सँगै कन्सोलिडेट हुनको लागि सहयोग पनि पुर्याउँछ। सबै टिचरको भूमिकामा आज विद्यार्थीको भूमिकामा बस्दाखेरि विद्यार्थीको भावना पनि सायद यहाँले मनबाट बुझिरहनु भएको छ होला त्यो पनि अलिकति याद गरौँ र यो हलमा छिर्ने बित्तिकै एकदम खुसीको अनुभूति भयो एट द सेम टाइम मैले यहाँबाट हेर्दाखेरि जेन्डर इक्विभ्यालेन्स अलिकति हामीले शिक्षा क्षेत्रमा गर्न सकेका रहेछौँ भनेको र सुरुवातमै मैले देखेँ त्यो काठमाडौँमा मात्रै हो कि जस्तो लाग्थ्यो कोशीमा पनि झन्डै त्यस्तै त्यस्तै देखियो मैले महिला व्यक्तित्व खोज्नलाई एकदम आँखा च्याती च्याती तानी तानी हेर्नु परिरहेको छ सो हामी स्कुल लिडरसिपको बारेमा कुराकानी गरिरहँदाखेरि लेट्स मेक अर लेट्स ट्राई टु बी भेरी जेन्डर न्युट्रल हुन एकदम आवश्यक छ त्यो पहिलो लगानी सायद हामीले गर्नुपर्छ होला यो कार्यक्रममा म सभा अध्यक्षको रूपमा आसन ग्रहण गर्नको लागि वी हेभ भाइब्रेन्ट सुमित थापा here with us, President of PAPSAN Kosi Province, organizer and executive of the entire committee. May I request him to be seated as the president of the summit. We have a very special personality today as the chief guest of the event. We have respected Professor Dr. Bishu Thaparia, Vice Chancellor of Purvanchal University as our chief guest. Thank you very much, sir, for your time and effort towards the event. I take this pleasure in welcoming and acknowledging the presence of Mr. Krishna Prasad Adhikari, President of PAPSAN Central Committee, as the guest of the event. Thank you very much. Similarly, Mr. D.K. Dhulada, Chief Advisor of PAPSAN Central Committee. Thank you very much, sir. I also would like to acknowledge the presence of Senior Advisor of PAPSAN Central Committee, Tikaram Puri, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence. Similarly, we've got two personalities here. Just say, हुन त सबैले लगानी बित्तिकै गर्नुभएको छ अलिकति बढी फ्रन्ट लाइनमा दौडिने यो कार्यक्रमलाई म्यानेज गर्नेमा दुईजना अलिकति हामीले देखिरहेका छौँ उहाँहरू दुवैजनालाई म कार्यक्रममा स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु वी हेभ म्याडम अन्जु भट्टराई here with us and Kumar Thapaji जो अन्जु भट्टराई happens to be the Central Committee member of PAPSAN and Kumar Thapa Educational Development Committee of PAPSAN. Thank you very much. Similarly, would like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Murari Sanjay, PAPSAN Bagmati Province President. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Advisor Narayan Kimire, thank you very much, sir, for your presence. And Vice President of PAPSAN, I already mentioned the name, Tikaram Thakal, sir. Again, Tikaram Puri sir, Tikaram Thakal, sir, thank you very much, sir. VP. Similarly, we are also open for the learning, relearning session today, and we have two. Oh, I did. Oh, yes, I missed. Very important person here. Let's welcome and let's acknowledge the presence of Mr. Santosh Mani Nyopani, Vice President of PAPSAN Central Committee, who is the coordinator of Training and Seminar Department PAPSAN. Santosh, sir, I'm very sure you'll forgive me. Thank you very much for the presence. And let's welcome our two wonderful keynote speakers for the session today. We have wonderful Dr. Tanushree Singh here with us. Let's welcome her, keynote speaker, Oxford University Press. Thank you very much for your time, madam. We also would like to welcome the dynamic Christopher Draper, who is the Vice Principal of the British School Kathmandu, another keynote speaker for our session today. And to all the principals of various schools of the province, vice principals of the schools, coordinators, educators, academic entrepreneurs, learners and motivators, welcome and thank you very much. Shall we move forward? Shall we move forward with the national anthem, please? I'd like to request everyone to rise from the seats as we move forward for the national anthem. छलपष्ट भएर राखिएका विभिन्न कुराहरू तपाईले देख्न सक्नुहुन्छ। अब यो किन यस्तो गरियो होला, यो लर्निङलाई किन यत्रो धेरै एक्सटेन्सिभ बनाइयो होला भन्ने कुरामा तपाईले सोचिरहनु भएको पनि हुन सक्छ। आज हामीसँग पार्टनर र कोलाबोरेटरको रूपमा केही संस्थाहरू हुनुहुन्छ जसको नाम म सुरुवातमा लिन चाहन्छु। पार्टनर्स अफ द समिट अक्सफोर्ड युनिभर्सिटी प्रेस, डिजी स्कुल, कारखाना, वेदान्त, ग्लोबल सर्भिस ट्राभल्स, प्रविधि, कावी अटो, फर्निचर वर्ल्ड एन्ड आइएनजी स्क्रिन। यहाँ सबैजनालाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। र सायद रेजिस्ट्रेसनको बेलामा तपाईले एउटा बुकलेट पनि भेट्नु भएको छ होला। तपाईले नजिकबाट सरस्वती हेर्नुभयो भने आधीभन्दा बढी जानकारी र आधीभन्दा बढी सिकाइने बुकबाट भेट्न सकिन्छ। यो चाहिँ कारखानाले तयार गर्नुभएको हो। सो कारखाना सँगसँगै थुप्रै कोलाबोरेटिङ एजेन्सिजहरू पनि हुनुहुन्छ जसले आज यो समिटलाई सशक्त बनाउनको लागि महत्त्वपूर्ण रोल खेलिरहनु भएको छ। So before we jump into the sessions altogether, we have a few formalities and speeches to be made from the dignitaries on the front line. So initially, may I here request the President of SAPTAKOSHI Province and organizer and executive organizer of this summit, Mr. Sulit Thapa, for the welcome remarks.
विद्यालय अर्गनाइजेसन नेपाल प्याप्सन प्रदेश कार्य समिति कोशी प्रदेश द्वारा आयोजित यस प्याप्सन कोशी प्रोभिन्स लिडरशिप समिट का प्रमुख अतिथि पूर्वांचल विश्वविद्यालय का वाइस चांसलर प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर बिजू कुमार थपलिया सर, डाइस महासचिव प्याप्सन केंद्रीय कार्य समिति का आदरणीय अध्यक्ष कृष्ण प्रसाद अधिकारी जी, प्याप्सन केंद्रीय कार्य समिति का प्रमुख सलाहकार डीके ढुंगाना जी, केंद्रीय कार्य समिति का वरिष्ठ सलाहकार आदरणीय टीकाराम पुरी जी, डाइस महासचिव केंद्रीय सलाहकार जी, पदाधिकारी जीहरू, प्रदेश अध्यक्ष जी, हाम्रो निम्तोलाई स्वीकार गरेर आउनुभएका यस कार्यक्रमलाई सफल तुल्याउन आउनुभएका हाम्रो दुईजना किनोट स्पिकर तनुमा क्रिस, अक्सफोर्ड युनिभर्सिटी प्रेस का प्रतिनिधि, यहाँ उपस्थित विभिन्न विद्यालयबाट पाल्नुभएका प्रिन्सिपल, डिरेक्टर मित्रहरू र उपस्थित मीडिया कर्मी साथीहरू र सम्पूर्ण महानुभावहरूलाई सर्वप्रथम मेरो व्यक्तिगत तर्फबाट तथा प्याप्सन कोशी प्रदेशको तर्फबाट यहाँहरूलाई हार्दिक नमन गर्न चाहन्छु, नमस्कार गर्न चाहन्छु। यो एउटा फरक कार्यक्रम हामीले शेड्युल अनुसार गर्छु भनिराख्दाखेरि केही अगाडिको सेसनमा केही अलिकति हामी ढिला हुन गएका छौँ, त्यसको लागि म क्षमा प्रार्थी छु र फेरि म यहाँहरूलाई अन्य लास्ट थ्याङ्क्स नोटमा म केही कुरा राख्ने छु र समयको पाबन्दीलाई ख्यालमा राखेर म यहाँ उपस्थित हुनुहुने सम्पूर्ण साथीहरूलाई, सम्पूर्ण गेस्ट, चिफ गेस्ट सम्पूर्णलाई म हार्दिक स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु। स्वागतम, सुस्वागतम। थ्याङ्क यू।
हामीले स्टेजको दायाँपट्टि यो पानस तयार गरेका छौँ। पानसमा दीप प्रज्वलित गर्दै आजको हाम्रो यो समिट प्याप्सन कोशी प्रोभिन्स लिडरशिप समिटको समुद्घाटन गरिदिनु हुनको लागि म कार्यक्रमका प्रमुख अतिथिज्यूलाई हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु। चाहन्छु र पछाडि धेरैजना उभिरहनु भएको पनि मैले देखिरहेको छु। अलिकति चेयरको व्यवस्थापन गर्न सकिएला हजुर? अगाडि अलिकति व्यवस्थापन गरेर बस्नु हजुर। अल्सो यहाँ सिकाइको लागि एकदम ओपन हुनुहुन्छ भन्ने कुरामा हामी एकदम विश्वस्त छौँ। त्यो विश्वस्तता चाहिँ यहाँको नम्बर्स अफ पार्टिसिपेन्ट्सले पनि संख्यात्मक रूपमा र गुणात्मक रूपमा एकदमै ग्रेट र प्रफाउन्ड नम्बर्स आज हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ। त्यसबाट पनि सिकाइको अवधारणा एकदम वाइड हुनेवाला छ भन्ने कुरामा हामी विश्वस्त छौँ। स्वागत मन्तव्य सुनिसकेका छौँ, त्यसपछि हाम्रो वाचन पनि भइसकेको छ। अब ट्रेनिङ हेडको एड्रेस तर्फ म लाग्नेछु। समय अलिकति हामी व्यवस्थापन गर्नुपर्ने भएकोले अलिकति आफ्नो ड्रेसिङहरूमा पनि थोरै यहाँले कटाइ गरिदिनु भन्नको लागि पनि म अनुरोध गर्दछु। म आदरणीय सन्तोष पनि नेपाली सरलाई अनुरोध गर्दछु, उहाँले ट्रेनिङको बारेमा ड्रेसिङहरू पक्रिनुहुन्छ।
Welcome to SAPTAKOSHI TV. It is a joy to see so many principals and educators gathered here with some purpose to strengthen our school and inspire our students. Your presence shows shared commitment to quality education and positive change. I would like to thank Sumit Thapa, Kumar Thapa sir, Sumit Thapa sir, Anju Bhatrai ma'am for their extraordinary support to make this conference possible and happen. My gratitude goes to Karkhana for designing such a meaningful learning experience and Oxford University Press for arranging a powerful keynote speaker and trainer as well, and to DJ School for their strong digital support. And I would also like to thank our trainers for their dedication and to all participants for your trust and enthusiasm. I also hope today brings new idea, new connection and new energy for our work, for our school too. Lastly, I welcome once again to you all to this evening. Have a good day and wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Short, sweet, yet very effective address on as training head's address. He happens to be the Vice President of PAPSA's Central Committee. For now, I would like to request Mr. Krishna Prasad Adhikari, the current President of PAPSA, for his presidential address.
Very good morning and namaste everyone. The respected chairperson, chief guest, distinguished guests, national leaders, traders, partners, and your school of Koshi Parvez. Good morning and namaste. I am very happy to welcome you all in the PAPSA Koshi Parvez University Summit 2082. Today is very, very special. We are not just here to another event. We are here to strengthen school leadership and improve the quality of education across the Nepal. In the last few years, PAPSA has made a strong effort to shift our focus from the simply running schools to transforming schools. For this, we created the Educational Development Department to work together with the Training Department so that our schools get better support. Today's summit in Koshi Parvez is an important step in that direction. We want to congratulate the entire PAPSA Koshi Parvez under the leadership of Mr. Sumit Thapa. I also express my gratitude to Mr. Kumar Thapa, to Ma'am Anju Bhatrai, Mr. Santosh Neobane, Mr. Chandra Adhikari for the hard work in making the summit possible. This summit brings together some of the best minds in education, from the experts, trainers. You will gain ideas and instructional leadership, reading culture, teacher development, digital learning, and overall well-being. You will also join workshops, build networks, and share the great works happening in the schools. Dear school leaders, I want to remind you, you are the backbone of Nepal's education. When leaders grow, school improve. When leaders grow, school improve. When school improve, children succeed. And when children succeed, our country Nepal moves forward. Let the summit be a day learning inspirations. I hope you return to your schools with new ideas, fresh energy, and a stronger commitment to lead with care, clarity, and purpose. Thank you very much, everyone, and my best wishes for the meaningful day of the learning. Thank you. Namaste.
Very much, Christopher, for the presidential remarks and also highlighting the importance of educators, teachers, and education in our lives. He also had briefly mentioned about the investment that PAPSHAN is making in the education sector. Adding to the same notation that he just mentioned, PAPSHAN Nagar had actually organized a training session, a whole day training session in Bhadra, made about 3 months. A great message in making a budge in education and leadership sector industry as well. It's time for us to listen to our chief guest, Professor Dr. Bijut Hapalia, Vice Chancellor of Purvanchal University. I'm very sure all of us are keen.
The future of the nation is crafted in the classroom of schools. Then let's not waste time to discuss politics and economics. Let's focus on education. The real question is, are we prepared to carry this responsibility? Good morning, namaskar, dear galaxies of academic leaders, PAPSHAN leaders, committee members, keynote speakers, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to address this galaxy of leaders who are present here at this hall, who are the custodian of the future. So from that point, I say that when school flourishes, a society rises. When school falters, a nation struggles. As I said, today I got this opportunity to be with you, so I start with certain questions which I think should be something that should be in our mind for a long time to give us the direction that we are today doing. Do our school prepare students to solve problems or to pass exam? The next question that I would like to ask not only you but myself, what is the value of knowledge that cannot be applied to real life? And that's where I think we really have to think whether we have been able to give the real knowledge. And then what kind of human beings do we want our school to produce? So with this thought, I try to remember when I went to school almost 50 years back, when I started my first day in my school. I do think, why did I go there? Or what did the school thought of me? I think at that time, the academics was a priority. But today, after 50 years, the narration has changed. And now today, we talk about well-being in school. As I said, when we talk about well-being of student, definitely there are certain things. Again, I reflect. In those days, we used to give priorities on our academic well-being. I think everything that was centered, all the activities that were centered around the academic well-being. But along with that, I think we were having a little bit of emotional well-being also, where we were taught, or rather we were instructed to have a respect for elders, have respect for knowledge. So those things were there. So the emotional well-being was also part of it, but I don't know whether that was the focus there or not. But as we come along, if you see around 30 years back, the school started giving more importance also to physical well-being. And that is very important. Even when I started my high school, we remember that we had some of the, the physical physical activities class also. So then I think that now if I reflect, that means the school was trying to give also the physical, well-being also was there. But then in the last 10 years, if you see, the society has changed in such a way that the digital presence is very much part of our life, and that has created that digital well-being is also one of the important aspects. So along with that, we have social well-being. So these are the 5 pillars in which I think the school has to work to bring what we are giving the hashtag well-being in school. So it's not very important to understand that it's not at the expense of one another. And that is what I think we are missing somewhere. We, when I say I also, is a part of that. We are missing somewhere there because we give sometimes the priority in one aspect of the well-being and we undermine the other part. And that's what the challenge is. How do the school system encourage us to take all these 5 well-being together so that we create a person, we create a citizen for our society who can be a good human being. Now when a student comes into our school, let me tell you, the parents, the society has entrusted with you not only to train his mind, but we have to train your heart also and his character also. And this is something very, very important if we want to have the nurturing the whole child. That is very, very important for us to understand that we need to create the person, we need to understand the whole child. Let me ask you again a small question here. How many times have you had parents-teacher meeting, or what you call the PTM, parents-teachers meeting? What do we discuss on that? If I'm not wrong, in the last 4 or 5 meetings that I went for my daughter in the school, most of the time we have been talking only about her grades. And that is something, sometimes it pains me. I think we need to talk about the person. We need to talk about his or her abilities. We need to talk about his or her interest. And maybe there, together, as a family, as a school, we will be able to create a citizen who will be able to give what the future that we are looking for in the future. So that's what the important is. And I think, and for that, we need to have a leadership where that leader should be able to infuse those character in your school. And I think today in this hall, when I see such a large gathering of all the school leaders from this province and maybe some other province here, I feel proud that you are interested in this aspect. You are proud, I feel proud that you are all here to be in this leadership summit to understand what are the things that you as a leader can do to transform this school system where we are, the whole nation, the whole society is interested in the future with. So that's what it makes it very, very important, this particular, I think this leadership summit, and I congratulate the organizing committee for wonderfully taking this particular task of sensitizing the leaders in this direction. Of course, we have talked about sustainable leadership. I will not take more time now. When I think of the few schools that I've seen in Biratnagar or in this around, what I've seen is that the school has only lasted 1 generation. The moment it comes to the 2nd generation, the school has not been able to continue. And I think there, the leadership again comes, where the sustainable leadership starts talking about. We need to create leaders, or you need to create leaders which can continue that particular institution for a long period of time. and that is very, very important as a sustainable leadership. I'm sure today, whatever you discuss today, whatever you hear from our keynote speakers, you will definitely be able to carry forward that aspect that we are expecting in our school system. And that is the well-being of our students, the well-being of as a human being, and also how you create a leadership which can nurture those things in our schools. I wish you all the best for a wonderful session that you will have in the whole day today. It's my pleasure that I am here today in front of you. Definitely, I think at least I will be able to spare time to listen to the first speaker. Chris, sorry, I think I won't be able to continue to listen to you because I have some other commitments where I have to be. Thank you, and I look forward to discuss with you, meet you in days to come, so that to understand what are the things that you have taken, so that I can also learn something from you all. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Respected Vice Chancellor of Purvanchal University and the Chief Guest of the Summit, for gracing us with your presence. Listening to you was such an absolute treat. Your words on leadership, vision and sustainable practices has truly inspired all of us. And the perspective you shared on nurturing leaders who both are compassionate and forward-thinking will surely guide us as we strive to create a meaningful impact in schools and communities. Now, we're moving towards the interesting aspect of the session. Please brace yourselves because we're entering into our first plenary session. Please loosen up, open up yourself for a great learning session. The person who's about to give us a great session is none other than Dr. Tanushree Singh. Let me have this opportunity of introducing Madam for a while. I'm going to introduce briefly about the person that we're about to listen to. Now, Dr. Tanushree Singh is a professor of psychology specializing in positive psychology. She completed her studies in positive psychology, a relatively new and promising branch of psychology devoted to cultivating content, happy and fulfilling lives. She extensively writes on issues related to parenting and has been published in leading online dailies and communities. Today, Dr. Tanushree Singh specializes in positive psychology and is currently teaching psychology to undergraduates. She also conducts workshops for parents as well as children to help them cope with issues they face every day. Today's session is for teachers and parents, or let's say for building a whole community and a generation. Let's welcome our first keynote speaker, everybody, Dr. Tanushree Singh. That's perhaps the closing promise, Mr. Sumit Sapa, to felicitate. Beautiful that all of the guest speakers today will be receiving books as a token of love. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. I'm very sure we'll have a great session on what.
Much for having me here. First of all, thank you Oxford University Press for getting me here, and Papson for doing such phenomenal work, which I'm kind of jealous of because we don't have anything like that back home. I hope to take some learnings from here and inspire people here. I was listening to, so two things stood out. One was, of course, Sugarika's mention of the teachers. I don't understand Nepalese, but I could grab a few words here and there. And what I understood was that you actually have a bit of a text which explains everything that we want a teacher to be. Yes. There as friends, as guides, as a pillar that the students can lean on. So that was the first thing that was really refreshing to hear. I was not going to include this story that I'm going to tell, but our chief guest's address reminded me of the story about the parent-teacher meeting. So, there was this jungle. All the kids used to prance around the whole day. The baby leopard, the duck, the deer, all of them, the would just run around. The parents got really tired. They need to learn, they thought. They need to grow. So let's put them in a school. They went off marching to a school. Now the first parent-teacher meeting happens. And as pointed out, the parents asked, how is my child doing in class? So the teacher said, the ducklings teacher said, the swimming is fine, A+. But the climbing of trees and the running is failing. So the parents were pretty disappointed. Then came the eagle's baby. The eagle's baby was very proud to take the parents in. The parents asked, how's my child doing? They said, flying, A+. Swimming, running, absolutely 0. So it went on. Now all the adults got together and they thought, let's not focus on the A+, they're anyway doing it. Let's put them in for tuitions and extra classes for everything else. So 3 months later, another PTM. The parents march again. No one asks how they're doing mentally, how they're doing emotionally. They ask, how are the skills now? Now the poor duckling, because of the webbed feet getting all hurt, because of the training and all that, scores a B- in swimming, gets marginally better in running. The tree climbing is still questionable. And this is how the report card looks for every child. So not only are we as a society focusing on the wrong things, we are focusing on them at the expense of the strengths that a person might already have. That is something that I hope changes. And in fact, it's not just hope, it is the necessity of times now. As Sir pointed out, with the digital age that we are living in, we cannot live in isolated pockets anymore. We are connected with the entire world. Our children are watching the world 24/7 and they're getting consumed by it. So it becomes even more important that we pause and think a little bit. In my last couple of days here, the refreshing thing was this need that I saw in educationalists and thought leaders and principals, that need, that drive, that fire, that a change is needed, which is what I think is also driving this conference. And reading as a skill, well-being as a concept, I think these two are very strong foundational pillars which the change has to be based on. Saroj, can we start the presentation, please? We will be talking about specifically reading that nurtures well-being. The clicker is not working. Can you point this side? No worries. Okay. Changing, which is something I think all of you must have seen, a sense of restlessness. They need that change. The complacency is now sort of going away. The pandemic, after the uncertainty, it's a growing sort of a problem across the subcontinent, across the world, in fact. Digital and curricular pressures are higher than ever. And then, of course, it's the very fact that we all are here, the schools are realizing that we need something more than academics. So well-being has to be the foundation of learning. Now, before we go any further, I would like to understand from you what you think well-being is. So, can we quickly have a bite from someone there? What do you think well-being is? You're in a classroom today. Yes? So there are no wrong or right answers. So if anyone can help me with this, I'm not looking for any definitions, I'm looking for your views. What do you think well-being is? Someone? Anyone?
He's saying sleep back. He's saying peaceful sleep.
Peaceful sleep, yes. Well-being is peaceful sleep. Very good. You're practicing optimum level, you have optimum level of well-being. Can you say that for yourself, and what makes it so? 2 more. I see the mic going somewhere.
I'm going to pick up a bit.
Saroj is going to force you to respond now.
I'm so sorry for that.
Yes.
Hello. It is just a combination of emotional, mental and physical health.
Perfect. So this shows that we have been reading a little bit at least about well-being. So if we were to just quickly go, okay, further.
One more?
No, hang on. Yes, it's working.
So,
Okay, wait. I think it's just ran off. All right. I've got the hang of it now. Yes. So we know that the well-being is the foundation of learning. That much is clear. We have a basic idea of what well-being is. The link that we are trying to create is the easiest in schools, because you already have reading in schools. But the only thing that is missing right now is the intention. Why do we want our children to read? Right now, the focus is entirely or majorly on academic success. Value education through, let's see what the moral of the story is. Right? So that purpose, the intent, is what needs a slight shift. So we already have the tools. It's just a matter of making the right connections. So well-being, a lot of times, in fact, it used to be understood as a person has well-being if there is an absence of illness. However, that is not the case. Well-being for a child would be a child who is thriving. It is not just absence of problems, it is exercise of strength, it is growing, it is flourishing. Think of it like a stool. There are 3 legs. The feeling, the thinking and connecting are the 3 legs of that well-being stool. So one leg breaks or is wobbly, it will all come down. So all of our system has to be focused on strengthening all of these 3 legs. Yes, sir had pointed out that emotional, social, intellectual, physical, sense and sort of define a person's well-being. Feelings, how do I regulate, understand what I'm feeling. A child goes through all of that. A lot of time they are not even able to understand what they are feeling. So then social, of course, belongingness, friendships, how am I relating to my teachers, the stakeholders in my life, intellectual curiosity. Curiosity is one of the key pillars of education, and a curious mind is never ignited under pressure. The have to learn, that sentence will never ignite curiosity. It will just shut it down. So we have to figure out how to ignite that curiosity. Physical, of course, and then of course purpose. All of these would come together to give a direction, to give a purpose to the students. What supports well-being? Children thrive in environments with positive relationships. Those could be the teachers, again, as I said, anyone around them. The teachers, the friends, classmates, relatives, parents, all of these relationships. What is the nature of those relationships? If they are positive, the child's well-being is enhanced. Choice and agency. Does the child have choice? Do our children really have the choice to do things, not do things? I'm not talking about rebellion. I'm not talking about teenagers, which is a natural phenomenon worldwide, where they'd say no. You'd say left, they'd say right. But overall, as a society, do we give our children the agency? Do we let our 3-year-old choose what they want to wear? Mostly it is that we'll take it out and we'll just shove it, that just go, just we need to get out, we need to get ready, we are in a hurry. So the whole idea of agency, choice, that comes very early on. Reflection, mindfulness. If you were to scroll on Instagram or TikTok, the word mindfulness has become a buzzword. You would see it in every third content, every third reel. But do we really exercise that? For a country that is in the lap of nature, mindfulness has to be the easiest concept to teach our children. So that is again nothing which requires extra resources. It is something that you know. It is just a matter of clearing the noise and transmitting the knowledge that you already have. So, and then meaningful engagement. An empty mind is a devil's workshop. So if a child is engaging meaningfully with the environment, not with just the aim of getting good grades, getting promoted from one grade to another, not just that, but meaningfully advancing in life, you will see a change. The moment everything is planned around meaningful engagement. So, if you look at all of these choices, what is that one thing, the easiest step? Because if you look at them individually, they might seem complex. And there are other ways of doing it. But what is the one easiest, simplest, cost-effective way of supporting all of these at once? Reading for pleasure. The intent that I was talking about. Change the intent. Reading for pleasure. One honest answer I need from all of you here. How many of you like, or let's say how many of you liked to read? Now you're very busy, you're not able to pick up a book. How many of you really liked to read? Just a raise of hands is good. A few? Yes? So, hopefully I get to see you sometime soon, and hopefully I see all the hands rising, because that is one thing that I think as we grow, we just give up. All of us have read for pleasure. Even if it was one comic strip, one story here, or at night time when you were told a story before you went to sleep. That counts. So all of us have grown so busy running our lives that we have forgotten that one simple pleasure, reading. Maybe it's time that you picked up a small simple book just once again. This, I work extensively in India, it's a story everywhere. That there's a vast difference between the proficiency required academically and that. Then with the growing social media engagement in children, the attention spans are falling, and the motivation to actually pick a book have gone down, which means that we have to talking to people. The research is that the emphasis has been on mostly textbook reading. Very little storybooks or self-choice reading happens. Even if a parent or a teacher is reading a story, usually the question at the end is, what is the moral of the story? What did you learn from it? Learn. What did you learn from it? Right? Stories don't have to, so they don't have to teach. They do teach, but not necessarily. Right? When I was a little kid, one of the teachers was absent, so there was this arrangement period that was done, and the teacher decided that we'll have a quiz competition. Divided up the class, half class this side, half class that side. Now the tiebreaker question came. The first lighthouse of the world, where was it? My hand shot up. It said Egypt, and I think it was Alexandria, if I'm right, because now my brain may form. But at that time, like this, I gave the answer. I had not studied any GK books. It was strength that if we have, we are equipped for life. You Again, look around for yourself for successful people. Are they all people who have scored A+ best grades in life? Not necessarily. But one thing that they'll have in common is curiosity, resilience, ability to experiment, ability to just take that step. Maths lessons will not solely teach that. That's where books come in. Emotional well-being, of course. Fiction builds empathy. I have a book, I wrote a book on independent struggle, and one of the core concepts, it's called A Letter to Lahore, and one of the core concepts there was caste-based discrimination that happens everywhere, you know. So, when we were talking about it in schools, the children read it, and some of them would be like, oh, this doesn't happen here. So that became the springboard of discussion, that opening the eyes and discussing how it is everywhere. And then seeing that how the character is struggling with it, it gives them an opportunity to see the other side, something they've been oblivious to. Because of the privilege, we are oblivious to it. So it creates that empathy, that awareness of things that happen around us. Stories help children name emotions. As I said, a lot of times we don't understand what's happening inside us. What am I feeling? But there are books, again, out there, which help you identify the emotions, which make you understand what you're going through. And of course, the stress reduction. I always carry a book. You'll never find me without a book. When my children changed schools, and we changed cities, so the first day of school, my boy is fervently packing and looking all across his room. I said, what are you doing? You'll miss your bus. Let's go. He said, no, just give me 1 second, just give me 1 second. And then he comes with this really worn out book, which he must have read at least 600 times, and he slipped it in his bag. I said, what are you doing? You read this 1,000,000 times. He said, no, I need it to be read. And it's always been like that. I've seen children in my reading clubs have that one special book that they'll carry, because what if I need it? So that is what our aim has to be. I'll skip a little bit because I guess we are a little short of time. Yeah. So social well-being, purpose, all of these, they are things that books will enhance. What can we do? That's the important part. This is all fine. You'll find things about well-being, you'll find things about reading, but what are the action points? You right here, this room full, you are the first step, the stakeholders, you are the people who will bring that change. How do we build this reading culture? We've been hearing this word for some time now. First of all, just track non-textbook reading. We have our systems in place, we have teachers who come back and report, we have all of that. Just add or replace some things and add that bit there. How many children are reading non-textbooks? As simple as that. You will be getting handouts, so don't worry about the pictures. You will have all of these and an action plan that will reach you. Create opportunities for choice. This is something very close to my heart. In a lot of schools that I visit, I see libraries as closed spaces where the books are locked away. On a table there will be 10 to 12 books and the children will ask, go choose and sit. Because library period we don't want any noise. Just sit and read whatever. There is no interest there. Books have to be out in the open. Not limited to libraries. Not the choice does not have to be limited to, again, lesson giving, age appropriate. No. A 7th grader should be able to pick up a picture book with ease. A 5th grader should be able to pick up something which is appropriate for older kids, flip through the pages and decide, too boring for me. That happens. My boy, when he was in grade 3, decided he wanted to read Lord of the Rings. Half a page later, he said later. It happens, but you say no, you're extinguishing something there. So, the choice. Encourage reading beyond exams. Reading is ongoing. Exams, no exams, test, no test. Let that stay. Let's not penalize reading when the preparation for exams is going on. Let them. Shift the mindset. Reading has to be a joy, not a stressful activity. Not goal-oriented, not something where something is to be won or some exam to be passed. Model reading. You can have all plans in place. You can have the best books around. But if you are not seen reading, if you are not seen holding a book, or the teachers, all stakeholders, then the ride gets a little tougher. It gets tougher to get them to, do you take out the books? And then of course I always get a mumbled answer. Do what? You can't just tell them, show them. And I have personally created kids will read. There are a variety, picture books, all sorts of genres. Understand, use that to your advantage. Choice will always fuel interest. I do not. That's it, that's all it takes. If it's visible, I went to a school once where they had bookshelves all along the corridors. If that they go missing, so like their books, if they go missing, we have done everything and read, dear. It's a short form for that. Just ring a bell, and that means that the school was deathly quiet. Everybody drops whatever they think. It's a designated time. Celebrate reading. Student book talk. A simple thing of you walking. Library displays, teacher read alouds. It has to become more visible. People here, where you want to go back and at least look through the action plan that has been shared. Joy, it does become a pillar, a strong pillar of well-being. Thank you so much for being alive.
Thank you very much. Speech for the session. The few things that noted down as takeaways from the session, because I also participated very profoundly during the entire stress and boost mental clarity. According to me, the another takeaway was selecting literature, daily routines to enhance leadership and well-being in schools, to model emotional resilience and lifelong learning. Speaker with a wonderful book again. According to you, books are the greatest friends ever. Homo sapiens, yes, that's one of the greatest reads of all time. Let's thank her, express our gratitude. Claps to her. Thank you very much, madam, one more time. Thank you for being an inspiration to all. Another session by DZ Group now. We have Mr. Raju Bania here with us, CEO of DZ Group. Now, DZ School and DZ Group has played a significant role in helping Papson go digital. Many schools in the country getting most modern digital education from the UK. Now, quite known figure, Mr. Raju Bania is leading the organization from the scratch. Up next would be Digitizing Schools by Raju Bania, CEO of DZ Group.
Hello. Good morning. Namaskar. This guest, all the dignitaries and the leaders from these schools. Once again, very good morning and namaskar. Definitely thank you, Doctor. It was such a nice presentation about the well-being and others. हामी चाहिँ अघि नै हाम्रो एमसीले इन्ट्रेस्टिङ डिजिटल डिजी स्कुलको कुरा गर्नुभएको छ. फ्यु मिनट्स एउटा 15 to 20 मिनट्स भित्रमा हाम्रो कुराहरू हामी कम्प्लिट गर्छौँ. सो मलाई सपोर्ट गर्नको लागि मेरो टिम मेम्बर्स मिस्टर सुमन बस्याल आउँदै हुनुहुन्छ यो प्रेजेन्टेसन यो डिस्कसनलाई क्यारी गर्नको लागि. स्पेशली आज हामी के कुरा गर्दैछौँ भन्नुहुन्छ भने वी आर टकिङ अबाउट द स्पेसल सस्टेनेबल लिडरसिप अबको लिडर्सहरू चाहिँ कस्तो हुनुपर्छ, अबको लिडर्सले स्कुल क्यारी गर्दाखेरि कुन खालको चाहिँ डिजिटल नलेज स्किल आइडियाजहरू लिएर आउनुपर्छ र लिडरसिपको प्याटर्न पनि चेन्ज हुनुपर्छ होला, लिडरसिपको स्टाइल पनि चेन्ज हुनुपर्छ होला। हजुरहरूले अहिलेसम्म डेभलप गर्नुभएको स्टुडेन्ट्सहरू धेरै कहाँ पुगिसक्नु भएको छ, अब आउने स्टुडेन्टलाई पनि हजुरले लिडरसिप दिँदै हुनुहुन्छ र 21st सेन्चुरी भनेको चाहिँ आई थिङ्क अब डिजिटल युग नै हो। त्यो डिजिटल युगमा लिडर्सहरूलाई एउटा डिजिटली कसरी इम्पावर गर्न सकिन्छ र के सोच्नुपर्छ भन्ने चाहिँ हाम्रो थट्स, हाम्रो स्लाइड्सहरूमा। सो प्लिज क्यान जोइन सुमन। सो अब अलिकता यो सेसन्सलाई अनि यो प्रेजेन्टेसन्सलाई मेरो मित्र सुमन पस्यालले क्यारी गर्नुहुन्छ, मेरो टिमको, मेरो डिजी ग्रुपको एज अ प्लानिङ एन्ड एज अ स्टार्टिङ हेड र यङ एकदमै यङ च्याप हामी चाहिँ उहाँहरूको कुरा एकपल्ट सुन्छौँ। थ्याङ्क यू
much for giving us this opportunity to be here, and let's begin with the presentation. अलिकति लाइट शेड सरले गरि नै सक्नु भएको छ, इन्ट्रोडक्सन को पार्ट पनि सरले गरिदिनै हाल्नु भयो। सो आवर कन्सेप्ट इज टिचिङ फर टुमारो। अनि म्याम को सेसन मा चाहिँ आई लिटरली लाइक दिस स्टेटमेन्ट, डिजिटल एज वी आर लिभिङ इन, नट लिभिङ इन एन आइसोलेटेड पकेट। दिस लाइन रियली टच्ड मी बिकज हाम्रो टपिक पनि योसँग आधारित छ र उहाँले भनेको लाइन एकपल्ट मध्यनजर राखेर हेर्ने हो भने चाहिँ यो डिजिटल एजमा हामीले जुन स्टुडेन्टहरूलाई दिनुपर्ने नलेजको कुरा त हामी गर्ने नै छौँ, तर त्यसमा सरले जुन कुरा जोड्नु भयो कि कस्तो लिडरसिप चाहिन्छ त, तपाईँहरूले आफ्नो विद्यार्थीहरूलाई कसरी गाइड गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ भन्ने कुरामा मध्यनजर राख्दै हाम्रो प्रेजेन्टेसन्सहरू छ। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विथ आवर कन्टेन्ट। फर्स्ट बिग क्वेसन, हामीले हाम्रो विद्यार्थीहरूलाई चाहिँ फ्युचरको लागि प्रिपेयर गर्दैछौँ कि पास्टको लागि प्रिपेयर गर्दैछौँ? सो हामीले चाहिँ यो लिडरसिप कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ हजुरहरूलाई ध्यान राखेर यो रिसर्च गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ 3टा आइडियल क्वेसन्सहरूलाई चाहिँ फर्मुलेट गरेको छौँ। पहिलो भनेको चाहिँ क्राइसिस अफ रेलेभेन्स भनेर छ। यसमा चाहिँ अहिलेको टाइममा 1760s आई गेस इफ आइम नट रङ, यहाँ टिचर्सहरू हुनुहुन्छ, 1760s मा भएको इन्डस्ट्रियल रेभोल्युसन पछि सम्पूर्ण एजुकेसन पेडागोलोजी नै इन्डस्ट्री रेडी बनाउने हिसाबले चाहिँ अगाडि बढिरहेको छ। बट वी आर लिभिङ इन अ डिजिटल एज र अहिलेको टाइममा चाहिँ हामीले डिजिटल इकोनोमीलाई फुलफिल गर्नलाई, त्यसलाई सस्टेन गर्नको लागि हाम्रो करिकुलम रेडी छ त? दिस इज द क्वेसन वी शुड बी आस्किङ आवरसेल्फ। यो पहिलो प्रश्न थियो। दोस्रो प्रश्नको तिर अगाडि बढौँ। कस्ट अफ डुइङ नथिङ। यस, वी आर एजुकेसनल इन्स्टिट्युसन, हामीले धेरै काम गरिरहेको छौँ विद्यार्थीहरूलाई, उनीहरूको लेभललाई अपग्रेड गर्नलाई, उनीहरूलाई अझै इन्डस्ट्री रेडी पार्नको लागि, डिजिटल एजको लागि रेडी पार्नको लागि। र अब सोध्नुपर्ने दोस्रो प्रश्न भनेको के अहिले गरिएका प्रयासहरू पर्याप्त छन् त? र अहिले हामीले गरिरहेका प्रयास पर्याप्त छैनन् भने चाहिँ पछि गएर चाहिँ प्रयास गर्दाखेरि त्यो कस्ट कति ठुलो हुन जान्छ त? आज एक्ट गर्नु नेसेसरी छ कि छैन? यो चाहिँ दोस्रो प्रश्न। त्यसपछि लास्टमा छ कम्पिटेटिभ इन्डेक्स। यहाँ सम्पूर्ण सबैजनाले चाहिँ आफ्नो विद्यालयलाई रिप्रेजेन्ट गरेर आउनु भएको छ। कति धेरै विद्यालयहरू छन्, कतिजना विद्यार्थीहरू छन्, त्यो विद्यार्थीहरूमा आफैमा एउटा कम्पिटिसनको भावनाहरू जागिरहेको हुन्छ र हामीले एक्ट नगर्दा डिजिटल इकोनोमीमा प्रयास नपुर्याउँदाखेरि के हुन्छ त? स्टुडेन्ट माइन्ड ग्रेजुएट अन्डर प्रिपेयर्ड। र त्यसपछि के हुन्छ? तपाईँहरूले विद्यार्थी मात्र नभएर प्यारेन्टहरूको पनि एउटा कन्फिडेन्स बोकेर संस्था चलाइराख्नु भएको हुन्छ। त्यो प्यारेन्टको कन्फिडेन्स त्यो लेभलमा पर्याप्त मात्रामा छ कि छैन त? त्यसपछि अर्को भनेको स्कुल आफै कम्पिटिसनको जुन रेसमा अगाडि बढिरहेको छ, त्यो कम्पिटिसनमा चाहिँ एक अर्का स्कुल बिचमा पनि एउटा प्रतिस्पर्धा छ नि त? त्यो प्रतिस्पर्धामा आफ्नो विद्यालय कहाँ रहन्छ त भन्ने कुरालाई पनि ख्याल राख्नु पर्यो। र इन्टायरली आज कोशी प्रोभिन्सको यो इभेन्ट छ, एक हिसाबले ख्याल गरौँ त, आज हजुरहरूका भएको विद्यार्थीहरू त्यसरी प्रिपेयर नहुने, यो कोशी प्रोभिन्समा हुने जुन म्यान पावर छ त्यो कतिको लेभलमा डेभलप भएर अगाडि बढ्छ? सो यो 3टा प्रश्न बिङ एन एजुकेसनल लिडर हामीले आफैलाई सोध्नु आवश्यक होला। यो हाम्रो रिसर्चले फिगर आउट गरेको कुरा। ल ठिक छ, यो त हाम्रो रिसर्च हो, हामीले भनेको कुरा मान्नु आवश्यक छ छैन त्यो हजुरहरूको कुरा। तर अरू हामीसँग केही डेटाहरू पनि छन्। जस्तै हेर्नु, यो डेलले गरेको एउटा रिसर्च छ जसमा चाहिँ के भनिएको छ भन्दाखेरि अहिले क्लास 3 मा पढ्ने विद्यार्थीहरू जुन छन्, द स्टुडेन्ट्स हु आर स्टडिङ इन क्लास 3, when they will be market ready, जब जबमा जान्छन् उनीहरू, अहिले उनीहरू पढ्दै गर्दा जबमा जाँदाखेरि जुन किसिमको जब, जुन नेचरको जब गर्छन्, त्यस्ता 85% जब आज मार्केटमा छँदै छैन। भनेपछि हामी विद्यार्थीहरूलाई भविष्यको लागि तयार गर्दैछौँ। कस्तो भविष्य? जुन भविष्य हामीले देखेको पनि छैन, त्यसको लागि कस्तो तयारी आवश्यक होला त? अगाडि बढौँ। त्यसपछि अर्को डेटा छ मेकेन्सी एन्ड कम्पनीको आफ्नो यो इन्टरनल अडिटको डेटा उनीहरूको, जसमा चाहिँ माउस प्रेस भयो होला, सरी टेक्निकल टिम प्लिज। सो मिडलसेन कम्पनीले गरेको डेटा उनीहरूको रिसर्च अनुसारको उनीहरूको आफ्नै इन्टरनल टिम मध्ये नै पनि 50% भन्दा बढी इम्प्लोइजहरूलाई चाहिँ रिस्किलिङ गर्नुपर्ने छ आइटीको नेचर आइटीको न्यारेटिभमा डिजिटल नेचर र डिजिटल न्यारेटिभमा उनीहरूलाई रिस्किलिङ गर्नुपर्ने भइसकेको छ। अर्को हेर्नुहुन्छ भने चाहिँ टप 3% अहिले जुन चाहिँ वर्ल्ड इकोनोमिक फोरमको डेटा हो यो चाहिँ जसमा चाहिँ कम्प्लेक्स प्रब्लम सल्भिङ र क्रिटिकल थिङ्किङ र क्रिएटिभिटीलाई चाहिँ टप मोस्ट 3% स्किल्सहरूमा चाहिँ आधारित गरिएर राखिएको छ। 3टा प्रश्न 3टा डेटा। अब यसलाई रिलेट गरेर हेरौँ हामी कहाँ पुग्न खोजिरहेको छौँ त। नेपालको सन्दर्भमा कुरा गरौँ। नेपालको एउटा डिजिटल नेपाल फ्रेमवर्क अन्तर्गत नेपालमा चाहिँ अब आउँदो 2030 यो चाहिँ अगाडिको स्लाइडमा हामी पनि कनेक्ट गर्छौँ तर 2030 मा आउँदासम्म चाहिँ 500,000 पिपलहरूलाई चाहिँ आइसिटी सेक्टरमा चाहिँ इम्प्लोइमेन्ट दिने भनेर चाहिँ एउटा प्लान भएको छ। त्यसै सन्दर्भमा हेरौँ नेपालमा चाहिँ कस्तो सिचुएसन छ त यो चाहिँ एउटा एक्सेस र स्किलको एउटा प्याराडक्सिकल सिचुएसन क्रिएट भएको छ जसमा चाहिँ हेर्नु भयो भने 91% अफ टच पोइन्ट्सहरू क्रिएट भइसकेको छ अल ओभर नेपालमा अल ओभर पपुलेसनहरूमा 91%हरूले चाहिँ इन्टरनेट एक्सेस त्यो लेभलमा आइसकेको छ तर हेरौँ त्यो स्किल्स लेभलमा 31% मात्र डिजिटली लिटरेट हुनुभएको छ। सायद यसमा केही 1-2% एडअप पनि भयो होला तर यो लास्ट डेटा अनुसार चाहिँ 91% इन्टरनेट एक्सेस हुँदाहुँदै पनि 31% लिटरेसी मात्र भइसकेको छ डिजिटल लिटरेसी। र अब जुन डिजिटल नेपाल फ्रेमवर्क छ हाम्रो 2030 मा 500,000 पिपलहरूलाई चाहिँ आइसिटीमा इम्प्लोय गराउने भनेर त्यसको लागि सबभन्दा ठुलो कन्ट्रिब्युटर भनेको हजुरहरू नै हो हजुरहरूको संस्था हो जसमा चाहिँ हजुरहरूले आफ्नो 20% अफ म्यान पावरलाई पनि डिजिटल लिटरेट गर्न सक्नुभयो। हुन त हाम्रो न्यारेटिभ अगाडि बढिसकेपछि डिजिटल लिटरेसीमा मात्र सीमित हुँदैन डिजिटल फ्लुएन्सीमा पनि हामी कुरा गर्छौँ तर तपाईँहरूले 20% अफ म्यान पावरलाई मात्र आइसिटीसँग सेक्टर्सहरूमा चाहिँ अभिप्रेरित गर्न सक्नुभयो भने चाहिँ यो नेपालमा भएको जुन यो डिजिटल नेपाल फ्रेमवर्कको जुन पनि यसको अब्जेक्टिभ्सहरू छ त्यसलाई फुलफिल गर्न ओभरअल नेसन बिल्ड गर्नलाई नै हजुरहरूले पनि सहयोग पुर्याउनुहुन्छ। द्याट इज अल एबाउट सस्टेनेबल लिडरसिप त्यो मेरो भनाइ हो। अब अगाडि बढौँ। अब अहिलेको हिसाबमा हेर्नुभयो भने चाहिँ नेपालको डिजिटल फ्युचरकै कुरा भयो यसलाई स्किप पनि गरौँ होला अहिले तर डिजिटल कुरा पढाउने डिजिटल कुरा सिकाउने भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ सबैको दिमागमा एउटा कुरा त पक्कै पनि आयो होला कि कम्प्युटर सब्जेक्ट पढाइ त रहेछौँ हामीले होइन त कम्प्युटर सब्जेक्ट छ कम्प्युटरमा वाट इज द कम्प्युटरदेखि लिएर हिस्ट्री एन्ड जेनेरेसन अफ कम्प्युटर होइन एमएस वर्ड क्यू बेसिक सी सबै कुरा पढाइ त रहेको छ अनि वाट इज देयर एक्स्ट्रा फर द स्टुडेन्ट्स भन्ने लागिरहेको छ भने चाहिँ इट इज नट द कोर थिङ। अहिलेको एजमा आइसकेपछि चाहिँ 21st सेन्चुरीमा हामी बाँचिरहेको छौँ र 21st सेन्चुरीमा हुँदाखेरि हरेक व्यक्तिलाई चाहिने भनेको स्किल सेट्सहरू भनेको यही 21st सेन्चुरी स्किल सेट्सहरू र त्यो 21st सेन्चुरी स्किल सेट्सहरूलाई उजागर गर्नको लागि हरेक सब्जेक्ट वाइज हरेक फ्याकल्टी वाइज हरेक इन्स्टिट्युसन वाइज हामीले के गरिएको छ त भन्ने कुरामा ध्यान पुर्याउनु आवश्यक छ। र 21st सेन्चुरी स्किल सेटको मूलतः कुरा भनेको चाहिँ प्रब्लम सल्भिङ लर्निङ हो र प्रब्लम सल्भिङ एटिट्युड डेभलप गराउनु हो। The overall concept for 21st century skill set is merely to develop a concept and attitude for problem solving behavior. So विद्यार्थीहरूले what is a कम्प्युटर पढेर भने कम्प्युटर पढेर केही प्रब्लमको सल्भ गर्न सिक्ने लेभलमा हुनु पर्यो नि त र प्रब्लम सल्भिङ बिहेभियर प्रब्लम सल्भिङ एटिट्युड भन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ एउटा कुरामा ध्यान दिनु प्रब्लम भने के हो त है सानो कुरा हो प्रब्लम भने के हो। हुन त यहाँ चाहिँ हामीले एउटा डेफिनेसन राखेका छौँ एउटा कग्निटिभ साइन्टिस्टले दिनुभएको इज अ मियर स्टेट एउटा करेन्ट स्टेटदेखि डिजायर स्टेटमा जाने एउटा सन्दर्भ भनेर राखेको छ। बट एउटा सानो उदाहरण लिएर हेरौँ है त बिहान उठेर ब्रस गर्नु पनि एउटा प्रब्लमको सोल्युसनै हो होइन र हाम्रो डेन्टल हेल्थलाई बेटर गर्नको लागि every time existing for a mere purpose is also a problem. So life every time प्रब्लमले घेरिएको चिज हो र त्यही कुरामा हेर्नुहुन्छ भने चाहिँ अब हाम्रो प्रब्लम सल्भिङ एटिट्युड चाहिँ यो चाहिँ अब कग्निटिभ साइन्टिस्टहरूले दिनुभएको कसरी हुन सक्छ भनेर आफ्टर अ प्रब्लम इज देयर हामीले एउटा टेन्टेटिभ थ्योरी बनाउँछौँ र त्यसपछि हिरोलाई एलिमिनेट गराउँछौँ त्यो सिचुएसनसम्म प्रब्लम सल्भ भयो भने भयो भएन भने चाहिँ हामी अर्को प्रब्लमतिर मुभ गर्न थाल्छौँ। सो यो एउटा आइडियल सिचुएसन भयो तर त्यो कुरालाई क्लासको बच्चाले कसरी पढाउने त क्लासको बच्चाहरूलाई प्रब्लम सल्भिङ बिहेभियर कसरी डेभलप यो त साइन्टिफिकल साइकोलोजिकल पर्सपेक्टिभको कुराकानीहरू भइ नै हाल्यो हैन। त्यो कुराहरुमा चाहिँ हामी अगाडिको स्लाइडमा कुरा गर्छौँ र एउटा सिम्पल इक्जाम्पल राख्नु हाम्रो फोरफादरहरूलाई पनि त प्रब्लम थियो होला नि विशेष किसिमका प्रब्लमहरू थिए जस्तै हन्टिङ गर्नु पर्थ्यो होला आफ्नो स्वेटर बनाउनु पर्थ्यो होला कम्युनिकेसन गर्नु पर्थ्यो होला त्यो टाइममा त जसरी हाम्रो ल्याङ्ग्वेज डेभलप भएको छ अहिले त्यसरी त डेभलप पनि भएको थिएन। सो अल अफ दोज थिङ्स वेयर प्रब्लम फर देम र त्यस्तै गरी प्रब्लम फोरफादर्सहरूलाई थियो अब दिस इज समथिङ इन्ट्रेस्टिङ। यो भगवत गीताको अध्याय 2 को श्लोक नम्बर 7 हो। यसलाई म प्रोनाउन्स गर्न सक्दिनँ हैन, आई एम नट एन पर्सन हु इज स्पेशलाइजिङ इन संस्कृत, तर यसको एसेन्स चाहिँ मलाई थाहा छ। एसेन्स चाहिँ के थियो भने यो अर्जुनको आफ्नो प्रब्लम थियो। जब महाभारतमा उहाँलाई युद्ध गर्नुपर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ म अब युद्ध गर्न सक्दिनँ, मेरा रिलेटिभहरू हुन्, प्लिज गाइड मी, बी माई टिचर भनेर कृष्णलाई सोध्नुहुन्छ। र त्यही कुरालाई मध्यनजर राख्दै अब नयाँ एजको जुन प्रब्लम छ, न्यू एज प्रब्लम जुन आएको छ, 21st सेन्चुरी स्किल्समा आउने प्रब्लमहरूलाई गाइड गर्ने कृष्णको हजुरहरू नै हो। You are the leaders who are supposed to act as Krishna and guide Arjun, who are your students right now. र त्यो कुरालाई फेसिलिटेट गर्नलाई चाहिँ यही 21st सेन्चुरी स्किल सेट्सले नै हेल्प गर्छ। मूलतः रूपमा राखिएका 3टा स्किल सेट्सहरू छन् 21st सेन्चुरी स्किल सेट्स भित्र। लर्निङ स्किल्स, लिटरेसी स्किल्स र लाइफ स्किल्स। लर्निङ स्किल्स भित्र रहेको क्रिटिकल थिंकिङ, क्रिएटिभिटी, कम्युनिकेशन्स। लिटरेसी स्किल्स ओभरअल टेक्नोलोजिकल फोरफ्रन्टमा बस्छ, इन्फर्मेसन मिडिया एन्ड टेक्नोलोजी। र लाइफ स्किल्स अन्तर्गत तपाईले फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, लिडरशिप, इनिसिएटिभ, प्रोडक्टिभिटी र सोशल स्किल, यस्तो लेभलको स्किल सेट डेभलप भएका विद्यार्थीहरू बनाउनु नै तपाईहरुको मूलतः अहिलेको 21st सेन्चुरी को टाइममा चाहिँ नेसेसिटी देखिन्छ। र यो कुरालाई मध्यनजर राख्दै एउटा मेन फोकस गर्नुपर्ने पोइन्टलाई चाहिँ म अगाडि राख्न चाहन्छु। टिचिङ फ्याक्ट्स इज नो लङ्गर इनफ। जस्तै अहिलेको टाइममा जुन एउटा थ्योरिकल पर्सपेक्टिभमा चाहिँ फ्याक्ट्सहरू मात्र पढाउने बानी हुन्छ। हिजो सर र म ट्राभल गरेर यहाँ आउँदै थिएँ, एउटा सिम्पल इक्जाम्पल दिन्छु। अनि मिर्चैया थियो है सर ठाउँको नाम। सो आई गेस मिर्चैया नै थियो होला। अनि म पूर्वको मान्छे त होइन सर, मेरो घर पश्चिम हो, मिर्चैया भन्ने ठाउँ त कतै न कतै सुनेको, कहाँ सुने भन्ने भयो। अनि ठ्याक्क कन्भर्सेसनको अगाडि चाहिँ बढ्दाखेरि चाहिँ मलाई कुनै टाइममा नेपालको होचो ठाउँ भनेर सामान्य ज्ञानमा कतै पढेको जस्तो लाग्यो। अब त्यो कतिको सही हो होइन त्यो ठाउँमा। त्यसपछि सरको र मेरो कन्भर्सेसन भयो कि त्यो होचो भन्ने चिज चाहिँ कसरी मेजर हुन्छ, समुद्री सतहबाट सबैभन्दा होचो ठाउँ भनेर होइन। त्यसपछि मलाई एउटा कुरा रिलेट भयो कि हामीलाई चाहिँ एटमोस्फेरिक प्रेसर भनेर पढाउनु थियो, 760 mm of Hg समथिङ पढाउनु थियो भनेपछि मेबी दे विल रिलेट समथिङ विथ एटमोस्फेरिक प्रेसर जस्तो लाग्यो। तर मलाई कहिले पनि स्कुलमा पढाउँदाखेरि चाहिँ कसैले पनि भन्नु भएन कि यो संसारको होचो ठाउँ कसरी मेजर हुन्छ भनेर। द्याट इज वाट क्रिटिकल थिङ्किङ, कम्पिटेसनल थिङ्किङ, यो सबै कुराहरू त त्यहाँ गएर रिलेट हुन्छ नि त। सो अब आउने जेनेरेसनको बच्चाहरूलाई चाहिँ नलेज फ्याक्ट्सको रूपमा पढाएर भने त्यसको अगाडि पछाडिको प्रोसेसलाई पनि गाइड गर्न सक्नु पर्यो। उनीहरूलाई क्रिटिकली थिङ्क गर्ने लेभलमा चाहिँ डेभलप गराउनु पर्यो। सो टिचिङ हाउ टु लर्न, एडाप्ट एन्ड क्रिएट एन्ड सल्भ इज द न्यू बेस्ट लाइन फर टिचिङ। र यही कुरालाई ध्यान गर्दै this is what DG School stand for. We are the forefront for teaching 21st century skill set by the help of technology. Last 4 slides मात्र छ सर, so टाइम पनि थोरै छ यहाँ। So त्यसपछि चाहिँ अब अघि मैले एउटा न्यारेटिभ पनि भनेको थिएँ कि we are not here to make people digital literate. We are here to make people and the students digitally fluent. अब एकदम माइनर डिफरेन्स छ डिजिटल लिटरेट हुने मान्छे र डिजिटल फ्लुएन्ट हुने मान्छेमा। जस्तै अब पहिला डिजिटल लिटरेसी र डिजिटल फ्लुएन्टको डिफरेन्सिएसन नै म पहिला बुझाउँछु अनि त्यसपछि मात्र अगाडि बढौँ। सो एक मिनेट है त। ओके, सो यहाँ हेर्नु है त, स्कुलमा कोडिङ पढाउने भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ। डिजिटल लिटरेट भएको मान्छेले चाहिँ कमान्ड पढ्न सक्छ, तर फ्लुएन्ट भएको मान्छेले चाहिँ त्यो कमान्ड युज गरेर सिस्टम डेभलप गर्न सक्छ र डिबग गर्न सक्छ। डेटाको कुरा गरौँ, डिजिटल लिटरेट भएको मान्छेले त्यो डेटाको चार्ट्सहरू पढ्न सक्छ, तर उसले चाहिँ कलेक्ट गरेर त्यसलाई एनालाइज गरेर भिजुअलाइज गरेर स्टिमुलेट गरेर सिमुलेट गर्न चाहिँ सक्दैन। त्यस्तै गरी क्रिएसनको कुरा हेरौँ न, आर्टको कुराहरू गरौँ, उसले डकुमेन्टहरू टाइप गर्न सक्छ तर त्यसबाट एनिमेसन भिडियो कन्टेन्ट बनाउन सक्दैन। सो ट्रेडिसनल आइसिटी करिकुलम अथवा ट्रेडिसनल कम्प्युटिङ करिकुलमले भनेको चाहिँ तपाईहरुलाई डिजिटली लिटरेट गराउन सक्छ, तर करिकुलम लाइक डिजी उसले चाहिँ तपाईहरुलाई चाहिँ डिजिटल फ्लुएन्ट बनाउँछ। त्यस्तै गरी प्रब्लम सल्भिङ एप्रोचमा हेरौँ न, डिजिटल लिटरेट भएको मान्छेले चाहिँ जस्ट स्टेप्सहरू फलो गर्न सक्छ भने चाहिँ यहाँ डिजिटल फ्लुएन्ट भएको मान्छेले चाहिँ कम्पिटेसनल थिङ्किङलाई लिएर रियल वर्ल्ड च्यालेन्जेसहरूलाई सल्भ गर्न सक्छ। सो अब वी आर टकिङ अबाउट द प्रब्लम सल्भिङ एटिट्युड। त्यस्तै गरी अब डिजीको करिकुलम इम्प्लिमेन्ट गरेको केसमा चाहिँ कम्पिटेसनल थिङ्किङ डेभलप हुन्छ, क्रिटिकल थिङ्किङ डेभलप हुन्छ। युनिभर्सिटी अफ एरिजोनाले गरेको यो रिसर्च अन्तर्गत हेर्नुभयो भने चाहिँ कम्पिटेसनल थिङ्किङ र क्रिटिकल थिङ्किङ डेभलप भएको विद्यार्थीहरूको चाहिँ प्रब्लम सल्भिङ एटिट्युड म्याथसँग जोडेर हेर्ने भने चाहिँ 69%ले कोरिलेसन म्याट्रिक्स अझै बढेर गएको हुन्छ भने कोअपरेसनको पर्सनमा 51%ले बढेको हुन्छ र एल्गोरिथमिक थिङ्किङको हिसाबमा चाहिँ 40%ले डेभलप भइरहेको हुन्छ। र करिकुलम लाइक डिजी इज नट जस्ट एन आइटी करिकुलम। हामीले आइटीलाई सेन्टरमा लिएर त्यो 21st सेन्चुरी स्किल सेटलाई डेभलप गरिरहेको हुन्छ। त्यसै सन्दर्भमा हेर्नुभयो भने यसले साइन्स र म्याथ जस्तो सब्जेक्टहरूलाई पनि डेभलप गराउन कसरी हेल्प गरिरहेको छ भनेर मैले त्यहाँ प्रेजेन्ट पनि गरेको छु। टाइम थोरै भएको हुनाले लेट्स जस्ट स्किप इट अहिलेलाई। बट वी आर हियर होइन, पछि आएर डिस्कसनहरू पनि गर्न सकिन्छ। दिस थिङ इज नट वर्किङ, सो क्यान वी जस्ट मुभ टु द लास्ट स्लाइड। आई गेस अब धेरै पनि छैन, लास्ट स्लाइडमा जाँदा पनि हुन्छ डाइरेक्टली। सो डिजी स्कुलको 4 पिलर भनेको चाहिँ हाम्रो वी टिच देम कोडिङ, कम्प्युटेसनल थिङ्किङ, डिजिटल लिटरेसी एन्ड अनलाइन सेफ्टी भनेर छ। र यसै अन्तर्गत यो सबै 21st सेन्चुरी स्किल सेटको कुराहरू पर्छ। टाइम थोरै भएको हुनाले आई विल स्किप 2 or 3 स्लाइड। सो अघि मिसले हाम्रो एमसीले पनि एनाउन्स गर्दाखेरि सी इन्ट्रोड्युस्ड आवर सीईओ एज द सीईओ अफ डिजी ग्रुप, एन्ड डिजी ग्रुप इज नट जस्ट डिजी स्कुल, वी हेभ अ होलसम थिङ्स that is empowering education through technology in this national community. So with the given time, I will say that was from my side, and for the closing note or few closing remarks, I would like to call Raju sir on the stage, and I will take the lead. Thank you so much everyone for being in love with me.
Thank you Shubha. I hope हजुरलाई केही न केही सपोर्ट, केही आइडिया को लागि अथवा केही नयाँ कुरा अथवा कसरी के गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने एउटा क्युरियोसिटी क्रिएट गर्यो होला। हाम्रो एन्टायर सोच थट्स नै के हो भने अबको लिडरमा क्युरियोसिटी क्रिएट गरौँ, नयाँ ढङ्गले सोच्ने बानीको विकास गरौँ भन्ने प्रयास थियो। थ्याङ्क यू वन्स अगेन यहाँ सबैलाई। सो फेरि
Okay, so we just heard 2001 born boy who was 24 years old about ICT, about digitizing Nepal. अब सम्झौँ तपाईले कति धेरै जेनेरेसन अफ स्टुडेन्ट्सहरू निकालिसक्नु भएको छ। आज तपाईलाई मलाई हामी सबैलाई पढाउन जेनजीयुमा आउनुभयो, मजाले पढाउनु भयो, कन्फिडेन्टली भन्नुभयो। सो आई थिङ्क दिस इज द काइन्ड अफ एजुकेसन in our country. Suman wonderfully presented. Thank you very much. Acceptance, self-realization, egola paitala mani rakhera eta realize garera naya learning la accept garna sakyeko मान्छे मात्र अब चाहिँ टिचर बन्छ जस्तो कुरो पनि देखियो। Digital, thank you very much, and both of you, we're so happy to have you here. We have 2 beautiful books on behalf of the organizing committee. So पहिला चाहिँ हामीले यो बुक दिँदैछौँ। राजु नो सुमन has already taken the book. Thank you very much. र साथसाथै राजु सरले हामी good to great book दिँदैछ। So he's good already. Now greatness तर्फको journey begin हुन्छ। That's also a very beautiful book that you are holding. Thank you very much. धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। Okay.
प्याप्सन कोशी प्रदेशले यो पहिलोचोटि प्याप्सन कोशी प्रोभिन्स लिडरसिप समिट भन्ने आयोजना गरेको छ। विशेष त हामीले आयोजना गर्नुको मुख्य उद्देश्य भनेको अहिलेको शिक्षालाई अलिकति परिवर्तनशील शिक्षालाई कसरी विद्यार्थीहरूलाई अझ राम्रो बनाउन सकिन्छ, हाम्रो विभिन्न खालका एआईका प्रयोगदेखि लिएर एउटा वेलबिङ इन स्कुल कसरी मेन्टेन गर्न सकिन्छ, लिडर्सलाई कसरी सस्टेनेबल गराउन सकिन्छ भन्ने उद्देश्यका साथ हामीले यो समिटको आयोजना गरेका हौँ।
त्यसमा कहाँ कति सहभागी
विशेष त हाम्रो यहाँ कोशी प्रदेशदेखि सहभागी सबै स्कुल प्रिन्सिपल्सहरू हुनुहुन्छ होइन, डिरेक्टर्सहरू हुनुहुन्छ। हामीसँग 300 बढी हुनुहुन्छ, सबै कोशी प्रदेशका सम्पूर्ण जिल्लाबाट उपस्थित हुनुहुन्छ। र हाम्रो किनोट स्पिकरहरू हाम्रो एकजना इन्डियाबाट र एकजना युकेबाट हुनुहुन्छ।
पानीमा नि दिन्छ
project for the DJ Expo called Automatic Street.
Sure, number 25. Yeah, yo अहिले के भएको हाम्रो सेन्सरले
Helps us to detect and so where is the position of the shot because of the zero line. Puja chira pro player. Puja the khela pata nahi hago chess. सबै सरै यो चाहिँ आरएफआइडी हो अनि यसमा एउटा की कार्ड छ अनि बटन बजर जम्पर वायर्स रेजिस्टर डिस्प्ले बोर्ड र प्रिन्टर छ यो गेम चाहिँ हामीले त्यो रियल वाला डाइनो